No, wrong one, wrong camera. Hello, everyone. Hi. As soon as it comes on my face in the actual feed, then I am going to do another audio check. So hold on. Hello, everyone. It's not good. As soon as it comes on my face in the actual feed, then I am going to do another audio check. Erica, pienso que YouTube no puede poner los subtítulos cuando estoy filming ahora, porque lo siento, mi español no es bueno. Y por eso pienso que los subtítulos will have a delay, I think. Lo siento. We'll have a delay, I think. No, there's just like something a little. Oh, muchas gracias. Quiero practicar más. Sí. I told Lucas if he doesn't get to pick his language for middle school, so he'll either be given. He could pick between two, so either Spanish or Mandarin. And if he has Spanish, I was like, I'm going to practice again and try. So whenever I get like comments and stuff in Spanish, I try my best to reply like from me in my broken Spanglish. So I try. Oh, Erica, you're so sweet. They said, like, don't worry, they understand me, you know. But hello. Okay, so the plan for today is going to be the first step. Oh, I guess I should say, hi, I'm Rebecca from ChemKnits. I love to dye yarn, and today we're going to start by dyeing some roving. And the plan for this roving is that I'm going to spin it myself. That is the plan. And so over like maybe Fridays in August, I'll pop in. It's possible that next Friday, and this is assuming that the schedule works, so it's possible the next live stream is going to be me realizing I have no empty bobbins for my spinning wheel. I haven't spun in years, so it could be, okay, we have to ply or wind yarn off of bobbins that I've already finished. It's possible that that's going to be the project instead of spinning when I'm dyeing, but the plan is to take this fiber that I'm dyeing today and then spin that into yarn in another live stream. Yeah, so my kids have a Tio and a Tia, but my friend's brother-in-law is from El Salvador, and so she was already a Tia, and they were already Tia and Tio to his kids, and so therefore they're Tia and Tio to my kids, which differentiates them from other like aunts and uncles, family aunts and uncles. But it's funny because they thought that, I don't think that my kids knew for a long time that Tio and Tia meant aunt and uncle, and so they were like, no, it's Tio Allen, it's Tia Jen, those are their names, and it's like, no. I have no idea what's going on with the numbers by people's names. I don't know. This is new. Oh, it's ranking people based on how many times you've chat, and you get like experience points. What is this? It's a place for fans to stand out in the community. The top 3 get special badges in the live chat. It resets every stream, so you can try again. You need to collect points. You can send live messages, send super chats and stickers. Okay, got it. This is new. And if we decide we don't like this, then we can turn it off. So, sorry everyone, I have the new feature that I didn't know about. Okay, let's peek at the countertop. Okay, so I was working on a video already this morning, so I'm already feeling tired because I was hand painting some sock blanks. I was doing horizontal stripes and vertical stripes in the same type of colorway. And if you are a ChemKnits patron at the wool or above level, or here on YouTube, if you are a postdoc channel member, you can go and watch the replay of that live stream, but that content will eventually be edited into an episode of Dye Pot Weekly. So in theory, after we dye the roving, I might work on some other videos today. And so if you guys have any particular requests, no guarantees because it's based on what yarn I have easy access to and the dyes that I have around. We could also film start filming some episodes of Dye Pot Weekly, working on some last minute lab videos that would go in the last minute lab partner queue. And so that is a possibility as well. It just depends on how much stamina I have today. And I am totally out of focus, and I forgot that if I move, oh, I'm back in focus. If I move, then it'll be an issue. Now, the first roving that, the roving that I have ready to go is Wool of the Andes roving. It's 100% Peruvian Highland wool. And the plan for it is, I think I want to do the like immersion speckled roving that I've been playing with recently. I really have been enjoying the effects of the colors spreading through the yarn. And there have been a lot of questions about how it might spin up. When you have on roving a little speck of color and you go to spin it, it's going to spread, it's going to blend, it's going to not quite disappear, but it could almost disappear depending on how it's drafted and what it's blended with. And so there was one point where I spun, oh gosh, and I could not find a picture of it anywhere. But this roving right here, I speckled, I dyed with an eyedropper with some Kool-Aid. And so the finished fiber was very, very pastel to start with. So then when I spun it, a lot of these colors became even more pastel. And the yarn, there was still definitely different colors there, but it was almost had an opal quality because of how little pigment was in there. Now, if I have more dyes and more pigment, the colors will still be there, but they will blend. And the thing about doing these like speckly colorways that's exciting to me is that it's going to give you tonal variation, but the repeats are going to be shorter. Sometimes when you have variegated fiber and you spin it, you end up with very long repeats of color unless you draft the fiber in a certain way. And so I'm intrigued to see how this is going to go. And it really bugs me that I did not, oh, but compared, you know, here's some yarn compared to the roving. Very, very old blog post. I wish I could find a picture of it. Nope. Because here's just some mini skeins that I gave for the Patreon. Cloudy Rainbow. Oh, this was another hand-spun project. I love that some of these pictures just like aren't working. Oh man, did they break? Did the blog break everything? Depending on which account I uploaded it to, that's annoying. Do I not show the fiber? My cute little baby. Where did I spin it? Okay, this was the fiber. I speckled on this fiber with dry dye powder. Okay, broken violet. Let's see. Lego spinning wheel. Oh, that was fun. But yeah, I don't know why a lot of these pictures are broken now. That is super, super annoying. I think, okay, I'm older than where I was when I would have spun it. So I don't think I have a picture, which is a bummer. Okay, but I'm gonna want to figure out, I haven't figured out what colors I'm gonna use today. We should be working anyway. Oh! Okay, I can turn off that steamer basket. My vertical stripes are done. Okay, so let's think. I don't know, the palette didn't, feel like the palette used to move. I have all my dyes. Maybe I don't want to play digitally. Maybe I want to play with actually the colors I can find easily. So let's come up here to the counter, and I need to get a yarn mop ready to go. This is just a skein of Knit Pick Stroll fingering weight yarn. It is 75%. Superwash merino wool, 25% nylon. I'm adding a zip tie to it. And I'm going to want it to have acid. Here is some water that I added 4 to 6 tablespoons of white vinegar to. It had 4 soft blanks in it. And I am just going to let this yarn get a little bit wet. This is going to be my yarn mop for the project. Now, a yarn mop is what I affectionately call yarn whose job it is to soak up and clean up excess color, whether that be dye powder on my glove fingertips, dye on the counter from baby speckling, or what. And so that is what we will be doing there. But actually, you probably see me with these aluminum pans around all the time. I use these aluminum pans to, I use these aluminum pans just to hold yarn and to keep dye and things from getting everywhere. I like using the aluminum for yarn that's hot. Over time, the acid does weaken the aluminum, and then they get like cracks or like holes in them. But then at that point, I just go ahead and recycle them. And so I can use them for a long time. Oh, for a second, no. Yeah, not 46 tablespoons of vinegar. 4, well, no, 4-6. There wouldn't be a comma if I said 4 or 6, but it's like, how do I emphasize that? Okay. But yes, we need to think about what other techniques and things we may want to do. So I was playing with a dark rainbow this morning, and what's funny is that over here, so I have like Cabernet, saffron spice, golden poppy, forest green, navy blue, and dark purple. And to some extent, there were some colors that were used more in the dyeing of my stripes, but like I had to use proportionally more of the yellow and orange to get the colors feel as saturated, and a lot less of the Cabernet. So I have these colors that we could use for a project and work on something. But if there is a yarn base that you're hoping that I will dye soon or something, please just, yeah, let me know in the chat, and maybe before we start dyeing the roving, I will run and grab some yarn or something to start pre-soaking. And I will be moving things to make sure we're on camera for you guys, but okay. Rebecca, editor's note, in case you eventually edit everything in. This is 200 grams of wool of the Andes roving with 16 cups of water, pre-soaked overnight with no acid yet. Oh, good. I will shift it more, don't worry. Let's add acid to it. Go ahead and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 tablespoons of white vinegar. And this is just shared so that way I will remember by recording it on camera. And what's funny is it was sitting, there's some sun where it's sitting, so there are patches that are a little bit warmer than others on here because of just where the sun was, which I find hilarious. Okay, the stove is currently hot. So I'm going to set you aside over here so we can plan out the colors. You'd love to see some zebra yarn. Ooh. Zebra yarn would be fun. I have some non-superwash zebra. Okay. We'll bring some navy. We're going to need to think of a purple or a pink to include as well. Oh, I don't have very much frozen. Let me make sure I reordered that. Just going through picking colors. I don't like true turquoise, and I actually gave Keith a lot of that. You know what? I know who I want. I know I'm not talking much because I'm thinking. Indigo is fun. Let's use indigo instead of navy, maybe. Iris. I have a little purple pop. Maybe that's pretty good. I may also grab like extreme blue. I have all my Dharma dyes down here today. Okay. I think we have this palette, and I will go through the colors that I pulled. Okay, I have pulled Intense Iris, Teal Green, Extreme Blue, Frozen Blue, Indigo Blue, Purple Pop, Sea Spray, Alpine Blue, and Dark Navy. I'm not going to use all of them, but I'll use some of them. and then I have the rest in case I need it. These 3 colors are going to be more accent. The goal is to not be purple, but we may be purple. Linda, no worries about being late, and don't turn myself into a Smurf again. Hey, the clip you mean from the clip I shared yesterday? Oh my gosh. Thankfully that was just a tiny bit of blue, not like the indigo when I really turned blue. Ooh, sparkly yarn. Ooh. Oh, so Keith needed a pigment to look at diffusion for something or other. And so he just needed some kind of dye. And so I was like, I have a dye I don't like, and so I'll give him a lot. Okay, let me go grab some yarn. I am going to, I think, probably insert an ad. So you don't see it, don't worry. But I'm going to go grab some yarn to pre-soak. So I will be right back. And we're not going to trip on any dyes. Okay. I also brought down my bins of stuff for over dyeing. But we have, that we can go pre-soak, some zebra yarn. This yarn is 100% Peruvian Highland wool. It is non-superwash. Making sure there's no dye on the counter. I don't yet know what we're going to do with it. But I will film the clip. Okay, this is 200 grams of the Zebra Highland 4-ply, 100% Highland wool. Rebecca. And I don't know what we're going to do with it yet. We could, well, maybe we could shoebox with the sparkle yarn that I've brought over. And add some zip ties here. Okay, I will pre-soak that in just a second. And then the other yarn I brought over is another one I need to buy more of, but haven't. I just placed a massive wool to dye for order. This is shimmer fingering. This is 90% superwash merino, 10% Lorax. So unlike Stellina, which is more combed into the fiber and spun with it, Lorax is plied with the fiber. It is a silver sparkly fiber that's in here that does better with citric acid. I haven't found this one to dull with citric acid, but I also haven't tried to intentionally dull it. What else was I going to say about it? But yeah, it's got a more consistent barber pole to it. Okay, I'm going to film a little clip because I don't know what I'm going to do yet, and so then I have some pictures of the yarn. This is Shimmer Fingering, 90% superwash merino, 10% Lorax. We're going to get a close-up. One more B-roll clip. Okay. Oh yeah, my kids have dyed tie-dye t-shirts that I need to wash. I love that that is something that I'm thinking about now. The train of thought was shoebox technique, then yarn, and oh right, where I put that is where I have this stuff. I'm probably going to pre-soak this one just in a shoebox. But what I need to do is bring this back over, and I'll check the chat in a moment. I would say Lorax gives more of a shine versus a sparkle because it's more consistent. But the thing about it that is especially cool is that if you dye that yarn a really dark color, the silver really pops. And so then in that way it's almost related to the zebra because it's like you have a white barber pole kind of thing there. Yeah, so no promises we'll get to either of those, but at least we're having them prepped just in case. And here are those vertical blanks I was telling you about that I was dyeing before. What was I going to say? I mentioned last minute lab partners. And I'm going to answer the other questions that popped up in just a minute. I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to sit down, put the fiber there. Okay. We are going to come in here. Okay, so a last minute lab partner is, lab partners are when I give a viewer a shout out in a video. And this way, okay. And a last minute lab, normally a lab partner will pick the yarn base or roving or what have you, give me some colors to avoid, and then I'll create a video avoiding the colors they've asked me to avoid, and I'll come up with some kind of project. Sometimes lab partners have requests and I'm able to accommodate it. Sometimes I'm not. So if you have a specific request for a video idea, please reach out to me in advance. And if you want a yarn base that isn't one of the ones that I have listed to pick, you can reach out to me and I can tell you what options I have in my stash currently and things like that. The difference for a last minute lab partner is that instead of picking the yarn base and telling me colors to avoid, you can read through a list of videos that I've already been working on. And you can see the yarn bases, some color hints, and the technique that I'm going to do. And you can pick one of those, and then I will film last minute shout outs to insert into the video for you. And you get 100 grams of yarn, but sometimes you can add more yarn to that as well. The thing with that is that you really need to read the description, because some videos have multiple skeins of yarn available, others do not. And so you want to read the description there. Okay, so let's see, some questions. Oh, I love the zebra emote. Wool to Dye For does not have, oh wait, let's see. Someone needs a sparkly zebra yarn. Yes, that would be something that you could probably spin yourself, but I mean, if we message Wool to Dye For and ask for a sparkly zebra, maybe they'll make it. Their Neo yarn is super, super popular with the neon nets. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. Let's see. Oh, did I buy? I forget if I actually ordered the 20-gram neon neps yarn or not. I intended to, but I think I forgot. Or I removed it from my cart because my order was massive. And my wool, when you order wholesale from Wool to Dye For, you need to have a 12-pound minimum order. And so 12 pound or 12 kilogram, I don't remember, but it needs to be a big order, and usually ends up being $400 to $500 or something. It's got a lot of yarn, but it ends up being a substantial order. And so sometimes there's things that I'm out of stock of, like I'm out of stock of the shimmer fingering now that I've pre-soaked that. But what I would do is, but since I don't need that urgently for something that's on the horizon, I will add it to my cart. And so then if there's one thing I need, then I'll also order that. But if I have enough stuff that I need, some of the other things I might save, because inevitably I'll realize, oh no, I need 2 more bags of 10-gram mini skeins for Hanukkah. That's not enough for a whole order. That's only half a kilogram. What am I going to do? And so this is the way I divide it up. So that is that. And then Melissa had a question, why don't I like the turquoise dye? This is a very good question. So I don't like the dye True Turquoise because it's a bleeder. And I think I haven't used it that much, but Caribbean Blue is a primary and is a wonderful bright turquoise blue color. And so therefore, I want to adjust this camera exposure. Hello. And so therefore that is the reason why I just don't use it, because there's other colors I like better. But yeah, so if you're just tuning in, the plan is for me to dye this roving that's up here. I'm going to dye it today, and then you'll know what will be happening in the next live stream, like the day before when I set it up. Wait, is this doing, I hate it when it does that. You'll know the day before, but so then the next one will be probably a spinning video of some variety. And then whether I can start spinning this one right away, or I'll have to just use my spinning wheel for a bit and then figure that out, and then I can get to it, that we will see. But that is the plan. What I wanted to do is turn on timestamps, because that is handy for me. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, and now I will stand up. Wait, what does this goal button do? Make Super Chat more fun with a goal. Well, that's goofy. I'm not going to do that. Okay, let's go dye this. Now, I will be putting on my deluxe rubber respirator mask, safety glasses, and gloves because we're dealing with dry dye powders. Everything I'm using is dedicated for dyeing yarn and is never used for food or food prep in any way. I'm psyching myself up. mainly because I spent 40 minutes hand painting those blanks that I told you about earlier. I thought I was so smart. I was like, oh, I'll do back-to-back live streams, the behind-the-scenes one, and then this one. And while in theory that was really good, I did not appreciate how long it was going to take me to paint stripes onto the blanks. And so, therefore, I am tired. Okay. I want to film this on my camera because I may eventually do an edited video. Nope. Oh dear. No, don't break the fudge nugget. There we go. Because at the very least, there'll be some shorts at most. So at the least, there will be shorts. At most, there will be, I don't know. I have words. There could be a full-length edited video depending on like how this all goes. But it's always good to just film a time lapse because content. And while shorts are not my favorite thing on the planet, yay, Beth, you've been a channel member for 38 months. That is wild. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Beth. Thank you so much. That is so awesome. Yes, and so you can, if you join to become a channel member, you get a little badge next to your name that are a variety of different things that drops of dye are what I designed. And then you get access to use all the ChemKnits emotes in chat, like emotes, ChemKnits ones. I'm popping some of them in the chat right now. Beth, thank you. See, Beth did that for me. And I think it's $1 a month to get the emotes. And then at $5 a month you could get, or I forget if it's $5.99, then you get access to the behind-the-scenes live streams that I mentioned, but that is also available for patrons over on Patreon. What else was I going to say? And if we get a few more, I forget how many more members, if we get a few more channel members, then we can add another emote to the collection. And I have an idea for one that I want, because I use the emotes in my videos when I'm editing sometimes. Let's see. Diana, your first episode. Wow, it was number 42. That's wild. Okay, I'm going to start with one of my accent colors. And I'm just speckling in a little bit of some purple pop. Wiping the rest of the dye off my fingertips and then adding it onto the yarn mop. These colors are going to spread and maybe disappear a little bit, but I want some contrast for what otherwise I'm aiming to have mostly be a blue colorway. But the thing is that this may end up feeling purple or teal depending on all these other colors that I add. Okay, I need to get a little bit of teal green. I need to write down and check to see it's possible that I've already ordered more of this. So that is something for me to check. If someone can remind me to write down teal green and frozen when I sit back down at the computer, that would be fantastic. And sea spray, I think this is the newer one, but I don't know anymore. There's definitely like blue adjacent. But now I have not added that much color in here at all. These colors are going to spread out a lot because they're going to sink through all the fiber. So what's probably going to happen is that we're going to add dye, and this is some intense iris. We're adding this dye. It's going to spread, and then we'll come and we'll add more. But I'm using so many different colors that we may not be able to get everything exactly where it was before, but we'll try. Now I could add dye thicker, but I also don't feel a need to. Now one thing I am curious about is we are currently adding dye, and now I'm about to go heavier with some of these other colors. We're adding this dye in. We're not seeing, and this is some frozen blue, the same streaks that we saw when I've done this before. Things are kind of staying more put. Now the reason for that is that there's no heat. And so the heat helps things move around a little bit more. Oof. This yarn mop is coming out so pretty. Okay, so we've done that. We've done those 4 colors. Let's do alpine blue. I love alpine blue. I always forget which one is brighter between alpine blue and baby blue eyes. But I'm coming, it's okay for the colors to layer. Hopefully they're going to sink through. But it's funny when things don't work as you've expected. And I think it's because of the lack of heat. If I had started with hot water even, that probably would have helped things out a little bit. Because I do want these colors to sink in. So what I may need to do is I think after I add this next bit of color, we'll wait a little bit. But then, and this is the indigo, we'll wait a little bit to allow these colors to sink in, and then I'll heat it and bring it back over. The colors are definitely starting to soften. It's just they're sinking in a lot slower and dissolving slower, especially because I'm not touching it. Without, everything is happening slower without heat. Okay. But the yarn mop is looking good. I'm going to pop her into a steamer basket that isn't on, but it's going to add some heat to it. Actually, I'll turn the steamer basket on. It was less steamy than I thought. So that way it can continue to be a good mop. I'm going to clean up, and we're going to let this sit for 10 minutes. Yep, this is one of those times when I'm like, things are behaving differently from what I expected. We're not seeing those starbursts. I'm seeing a little bit of movement in there, but things are staying at the surface a lot. But I think when things are hot, they may move more. And it's fine. It'll still blend out and still be pretty. But we'll see the difference between before and then now, which is 10 minutes later. What I also didn't look to see is if I have less water than what I had last time. I did not check the conditions. But you know, sometimes things work the way I expect and sometimes they don't. Clearly though, things are gonna be more blown out than they are here. Okay. Oh, I love that I said that right there. Write down teal and frozen. Okay, thank you. Actually, what I'm going to do is go and check my orders to see what I ordered last time. I love that it says order being processed, but I'm pretty sure I received this. Okay, I had teal and frozen. I used to have, and I need to get a new one. Oh no, I do. So on my diary, I have a list of unopened acid dyes for just this reason. Because I'm like, oh, I'm running low on teal green. I've ordered more teal green than frozen already. That is really good to know. I forgot that I did that. See, sometimes it makes sense. Because then I'm like, I mean, yeah, to make sure and that I've ordered stuff. So that is good. Now I do have a present from Jakard. Their president sent me some of their new optical brightener, which they did say, because I shared, I don't know if I easily have the pictures here on my computer, they're on my phone. They have an optical brightener, which is basically a colorless fluorescent acid dye. But I think it's really a colorless fluorescent fiber reactive dye because you could use it on cotton as well. But you can use it like an acid dye. And they had me test some of it just as like a clear fluorescent dye. And it was really cool, and I was so excited. And I think that the version that they're selling is less potent than the ones I was testing. But what I don't know is if this has any, well, if it's less potent, it probably has something else mixed in, and I don't know if that's going to dry out the wool. Because like black light blue dries out the wool a little bit, and maybe silver gray does as well. And so those are things that I still need to explore. But oh, I'm loving that. Okay. For Beth, I'm going to check. Let's see. Nope, not Etsy. I need my studio. I was like, wait, I'm not in YouTube. Earn memberships for you. Woohoo! Okay, we are at 25 members here. And badges and emoji. Nope, I could do... if I get 5 more members, then I can add a 10th emoji. So let's see. No perks. Custom emoji. It's going to tell me, it's not going to tell me how many. But yeah, if we hit 30, and that's to be 30 all at once, then I could have a 10th one. But otherwise, so I use them all. But I think the one that I probably use, maybe the one I would need to replace would be the ChemKnits face palm. Even though I use this one a lot, so this one. So even though I use that one a lot, I feel like I'm more likely to use that as me versus someone else. Or one of the indie ones, or maybe we seasonally remove some. But hi Val! So Indy is doing really well. He is 14. He is an old man. And finally, it's funny because when he's excited, then he still acts like a puppy and is very like limber and can move. But when we had like Keith's brother and my brother both came over at the same time, normally Indy would run up like squealing, like high-pitched bark, excited, and he sort of like walked over and like sniffed them and like was a little excited, but the excitement was way, way lower than what it normally is. And so he sleeps a lot. But he is a good, good boy. I do enjoy when I include the like bark emote. And you can get a sense of the delay now, because based on when I put something in the chat versus when you can hear me say it, I can't see how much time is on the timer, but it'll beep when it is time. The question will be, will I add more dye on this now before I go heat it or not? It probably makes sense to heat it first, because to see how these dyes will spread. I can look and see, and some of the dyes are very much just hanging out like on that surface. Did I even say that I went like horizontal down the pan with the 200 grams of Roving? I gave myself the chance to do something asymmetric, even though then I decided to not do that. But what that means is that because spatially those pinks are further apart than they might have been otherwise, if that makes sense. But anyway, and let's see, I've pre-soaked. If you're just tuning in, we may work on some Dye Pot Weekly episodes, but we may not. We'll go as long as I can. But yeah, so over on Patreon, and so basically YouTube memberships weren't available for a long time. I'm dropping the Patreon link in the chat. YouTube memberships weren't available for a really long time, and I had the Patreon first. And so I didn't want to offer things through YouTube memberships that I wasn't offering on Patreon because of fairness. Yay, Amy, thank you for becoming a postdoc. Thank you so much. And so I tried to price things so that way if someone was a wool level ChemKnits patron, then adding the emotes, because I can't, it would be nice if there was a Patreon YouTube integration, so that way if someone was on Patreon, they could get access to the emotes and badges. But anyway, I really wanted emotes and badges, so that was something that I was very, very excited about. And so at the postdoc level, you get access to the monthly behind-the-scenes live stream that I do while working on an episode of Dye Pot Weekly, and you get early access to the newest Dye Pot PS video. And so when you look at the channel page, there should, let's see, good, thank you for not auto-playing. Where is this? Okay, there. And then web browsing. Oh, I put that on the wrong one. There we go. Yeah, I'm live right now. So then under here, there is a membership tab. And so now I can see what it looks like to postdocs. And I think if you're not a postdoc, then like you wouldn't see info for this behind the scenes live stream or the latest early access video. And so then you can go down and see like the past live streams and stuff too. I tried to be good about it, but yeah. And so then this is the one that I just did today, and for some reason oh, now my mouse was showing up, but anyway. Nope, there we go. And so it shows up under that membership tab, or I think sometimes that's just a community tab. Okay. Single camera, nope, this one. Ooh. Okay, we can remove with tongs our yarn mop and bring that over here, because I will add more color to it. So heat setting the yarn mop in the middle. What that does is allow, when it's in the middle of the dyeing process and you bring over the heat, that means that when I go and I wipe more colors on, there's space for the yarn to sort of absorb that color versus the color that's in here wiping off onto my gloves. Rebecca, this is after 10 minutes. And so I'm going to go heat set it before adding more dye. There are definitely colors in here that have completely sunk in, but then there's others where I can see just how dark they are, that they have not dissolved and sunk into the fiber yet. So I'm going to take this to the stove and heat it. And I don't know how long I'm going to heat it for. I'm setting a timer for 10 minutes just so that way I check back in. And in the meantime, because then I can bring it back over and set it on some hot pads so then we can continue. Because I'm expecting that with the addition of heat, that I'm going to see things move through way, way, way more. But you know, it's hard to say. Okay. Let's see. So I have those saturated colors. Which ones do I think? What fell? No, nothing fell. Okay. I'm like, oh no, what happened? Okay. Hopefully it is not frozen. Okay, I see that on my streak. All right, we are going to start a Dye Pot Weekly episode, a Last Minute Lab Partner Dye Pot Weekly episode. And we're going to start with an editor's note. Rebecca, you still need to film an introduction for this video that is going to be a shoebox technique with Lorax using some really saturated colors. And so you can do a talking head. There's B-roll, Rebecca, of all of the Lorax yarn. In my shoebox here, I'm adding 8 cups of water. And I think we're going to start with no acid. This is a little bit of one of those instances where I'm going to make things up as I go along. And I don't know yet if I'm going to want to lift, after I add the dyes on, if I'm going to want to lift the yarn to blend the colors through, if I'm going to want to blend it through manually myself like this, or what. And the nice thing is that we have flexibility. I know a lot of times when I do what I call my shoebox technique, I do the similar thing. I'll pour colors on, let it sit, and then I'll lift the yarn to move it all around before returning it sort of in place. And that's a beautiful way to blend the colors. But I'm not limited to that. So we will see what we're going to do, but let me show you the colors. The colors I am planning on using today include Cabernet, Forest Green, Dark Navy, and maybe a tiny bit of Deep Purple, but I think I may leave that one out and just stick with those 3 because that's what I have the most of. Now, I started out measuring out for all these colors, that I used in another project. I weighed out 1 gram of dye and then dissolved it until the cup was almost completely, was like 2/3 full. And so I don't know what volume of liquid that is, but actually we can check this. Okay, so here I have about 250 milliliters, and I cannot fill that cup. That was our yellow for another project. Okay, so therefore in under 200 milliliters, I dissolved it in. So therefore we have approximately under a, well, we definitely don't have a 1% stock solution with 1 gram of dye per 100 milliliters. I would say we have maybe between a 0.5 and a 0.8% stock solution, which is only worth bringing up because I know I think I'm going to use all of the green. I may use all of the navy. I only want to use about half of the Cabernet. And then I know that in doing that, I'm going to have less than 2 grams of dye on our 200 grams of yarn. But these are proportions, and I'm doing a back of the envelope calculation, mainly so that way I know, okay, I'm not going to add too much dye. I'm not going to add more dye than our yarn can handle. Ooh, 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 ooh. Let's see. Cindy, thank you so much for being a lab tech. Thank you for joining and being a channel member. Wait, it got quiet? Amy, I'm quiet. Hopefully you can hear me still. But yeah, the chat got quiet. Woohoo, you're halfway done with your lifeline. Okay, let's see. What was I going to say? I don't know if I've ever done a cold process technique on yarn with Lorax. It's possible that I have. Lorax is less finicky than Stellina in that I believe you can use citric acid with it. I haven't, but I believe that you can. But also since the fight, that is not where I wanted that to go. There may have been a little water in with my vinegar now. What was I going to say? But because the Stellina is plied through, it is going to stand out a little bit more than other colors. But okay, let's go ahead and do this. I want to use almost all, or all of our dark navy dye. I am carefully pouring it on, very carefully and slowly. Next, I want to come through with our forest green, and I'm going to add this in on this side, mostly on the zip tie, but it's going to move. It's going to move through. And then when it comes to the Cabernet, I'm going for about half of this, I think. Cabernet as the color is a little bit more finicky, but it's also very, very, very potent and very dominant. Okay, that is good so far. I've done that. Now, what I need to do is try to work these colors through, and I want to do that before I add acid. And I'm going to move the dyes away. And I'm going to start over with the forest green and sort of work the dyes through, I think is what I want to do today. We still have no acid in here, which means that as I do this, the colors will still likely be the most saturated right where I've put them. But this is allowing me to sort of add these colors, and I'll be able to check on the side to see how much they've moved through. They may move through a lot and blend a lot, and that could be fine. Actually, I can see on the sides, I wish, oh, I do have a yarn mop for another video. You're gonna have some Cabernet on you now. someday Rebecca's going to be very, very confused about this. Okay, and I want to work on the sides because since I can see, and I don't know if you can really see the side, I can use that as I'm trying to work these colors through, but without spreading it too much. You know what? At this point, I do want to come and add a little bit of acid because I am working and blending these colors through a lot. Let's do one. Oh, that looks so cool. 2, 3, 4 tablespoons of white vinegar. That is a fair amount for 8 cups of water. And you can tell that I'm thinking a lot when I go silent. I'm trying to like press the yarn down, but also fluff it back up. The goal is to have something so saturated here that it looks very, very black. It does look quite black, but I want to see that silver Selena really, really pop. And I think that that would be really beautiful. I am still seeing some areas on the bottom, and actually I can pick this up, but I didn't really talk about cold process. Cold process dyeing just means I'm doing things at room temperature, and it means I'm going to let things sit for a longer period of time to let colors absorb. Today it happens to be such that all my heaters, all my burners are covered right now. And so I don't have space to go and heat this and use another container. And it can be beneficial like that. Now, usually what I will do is I'll take this yarn, I'll let it sit outside for 24, 48 hours. Today's a Friday. I'll probably come back to it on Monday and then steam set it. But then when I steam set it, almost all the color is in the yarn, and therefore I'm not going to worry about the green touching the Cabernet or anything like that. What I want to do now is very carefully lift and check the bottom. Okay, I checked the bottom. There is white on the bottom, and that is not what I want. So I am going to need to be a little more aggressive now with my working the colors through, lifting, really working that in. And by white, I mean it's more pastel. We have enough acid in here that if I were to lift and move things, we would get, we would be fine. But I am trying to be careful. And there's still going to be some lighter areas. And you know what? It is what it is. We're still going to have beautiful pops of color. But there's going to be some areas that are lighter because I didn't lift it. Because ultimately, even though with our water to yarn ratio, we have like a lot of volume in here, we're in a very crowded situation. And so if I wanted the same saturation that I have up here on the bottom too, what I would need to do would be to have checked before adding acid, but to really work the dyes through, and when I was at this point of it to really lift. But you can see we have some less saturated areas, significantly less saturated areas. So actually, I'm changing my mind constantly. What I am going to do now is we're going to lift the yarn. You know what? It's fine. It's still fun. We're going to add, this is going to add a little bit of red all over, even on the green. It's going to muddy things a bit, but it's going to be fine. Do I like that? It's fine. Okay, I'm changing my mind again. Okay, I'm going to remove the yarn. Need a pan. because that's mostly red. And it's not that I'm mad at that. I was like, but I do have an opportunity to bring in a little bit more blue just from this paintbrush. And so if we're doing this, then let's do this and work this paintbrush that had just a little bit of that dark navy dye all the way through. I mean, I have the navy dye right here. I could add more of it in. I don't think I want to do that. Because I do like this, and the little hints of purple with the green are nice, but I just wanted to bring a hint more pigment over. And I know I have more of that Cabernet. We could do more of that. It's going to be gorgeous and pretty. I'm not worried about that. I just wanted a little more blue. And you know what? Okay, I'm going to set this aside for like a little bit. I'm not going to take it all the way outside yet. I'm going to get a lid. And I'm just going to set it to the side for an undetermined amount of time. I would say at least 15 minutes. And then we'll come back and think about what we're going to do. And that's because I have wanted to go back to the roving, because it has been way more than 10 minutes now. We're going to put hot pads down. Let's see. Ooh, beads. I saw something about beads. Cabanera. Ooh, I'm missing lots of fun things with the chat. All right, are you guys ready to see this gorgeousness? Ah, isn't she lovely? This is turning out so, so, so pretty. Now there are some areas that seem a little bit dark that I'm not sure if it's dye that hasn't set or if it just gave us a sharp speckle. That I don't know. Possibly something in between. And so before I add more dye, I'm just poking these areas through. And now I am going to put my respirator back on and we're going to add more dye. Now historically, when we add more dye, like the bottom side is going to look like this a lot too. But yeah, isn't it beautiful? This is kind of what I was going for. I wanted this softness in there. In a colorway that is mostly blue, but is going to have a few pops of like our pinkish purple that are probably going to spread out a fair amount, but we don't know what's happening down on the other side yet. And I'm curious, it's going to be hard to tell. Oh, I need a dry. I'm like wiping my fingers on wet paper towels. I'm like, that is not hopeful, Rebecca. Yeah, I think hot, these colors are spreading a lot more than what they did last time. That is our teal green. Okay, onto the yarn mop. The sea spray. With the sea spray, because I feel like this is a color that did very little, but that I avoided still, I'm going a bit heavier with everything. It is looking really green when it first goes on, but I didn't see or feel that much green. Okay. Oh, our intense iris, which is very blurple. The nice thing is that I definitely do not need to add every color everywhere because I can choose how things blend. If there's one area where I'm like, oh man, I wish there was more iris over there, as I go to spin, like that's not going to be an issue. Oh good, I am recording. I was like, oh no! Alright, now frozen is sometimes what I like to use, and I'm doing this a little bit just like all over. Frozen blue, oh, that was a lot right there, is a color that I like to use as a bright blue sometimes. And sometimes I use it for like my neon, which kind of goes to show that the little swatch they put on here doesn't really give you a good indication of how a color will be when it's really saturated. And that's because if you're going to dye it at a low depth of shade, you could get that pastel blue. But a lot of the time, that's maybe not what you're going to do. A lot of the time, rather than using just that tiny bit, you might use more. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Now, I don't want to use so much color that we lose this watercolor effect. And I know that everything that we add is blending out. Yes, it is going to blend out in our yarn. But also, then when we spin it, it is going to blend out even more. And there will be areas on our fiber that are lighter because I am not pushing the color through. So maybe after, let's add a little bit of some indigo. Let's try to add some down by these edges where I see a little bit less pigment. After we let this have heat for a period of time, we can come in and, what was I going to say? We can check. And we're not exactly going to be flipping the fiber, but we can check and add more color. But I believe that what we see here is more saturated than the final yarn we will end up with. So let's go heat this for another 10 minutes and then we'll check back in. And things are still hot. And I'm going to pop the yarn mop. Yes, I'm going to pop that back in the steamer basket. And we're going to wait more because I'm going to wait to go back in that shoebox. Yeah, I want to wait to go back in the shoebox because I want to know more about what's happening right here. But I can tell you that those colors were spreading out more than they had been Yeah. And I can check the chat. And so if you have questions, now is a really, really good time to leave them. Yeah, because it's a good time to leave like questions and whatnot in the chat, and I need to check. Where is my stream? No, that is good. Channel dashboard, live streaming. Okay, while you're putting in questions, I'm going to insert an ad now. You may or may not see it. If you don't see it, no worries. And I'll wait a minute before I start answering anything because, yes. That makes sense. Yes, I have tried dyeing boucle yarn. Oh wait, I said I was going to wait to answer questions. I wish YouTube would tell me when like when I insert an ad when it's done. Okay, so apologies if there's an ad. I'm drinking soda, so no. I will grab some water in a minute though. Web browsing, okay. I wanted to search for boucle. I like the deep breath and go for it, dyeing that boucle yarn. I've dyed a cotton boucle a lot. And, okay, there's like a cotton boucle that I use like here and stuff that I like. This is the first time dyeing like a wool boucle yarn, and it turned out really, really nicely. And so, yes. When I insert ads into a video, not everyone is going to see it. And I'm going here so my face is smaller because then I'm less distracted. Yeah, if I say, okay, insert an ad here, YouTube just like, yeah, YouTube may show it to some people, may not. It depends on all kinds of things with their algorithm. But my other choice is to have them automatically add ads. And I don't like to do that because then sometimes they'll do it like, there are moments that are like, this is the moment I pour on the dye. And if they insert an ad there, then someone can miss it. And so that's annoying. Let's see, I'm just going backwards. I would totally want to use that roving. Yes, I'm trying to make roving that I would want to use. Okay, talking about beads. I used to love doing lace and beaded lace. I don't think I have the patience for that anymore. I like the weight that beads give to like a lace shawlette or something. Ugh. Yeah. Lace is using 7 charts using a lot of lifelines. One thing I love about with knitting lace is using like my interchangeable needle set with a long cable, because adding a lifeline is then so easy because there's a little hole that you use to tighten the interchangeable needles. You can insert your thread for a lifeline in one of those and sort of tie it there, so then when you do your next row, it'll just automatically go through the stitches. And so then that is something that I really, really like and I find fun. Your needles don't have a hole? No! Then you have to do it manually. And if some of you aren't sure what a lifeline is a piece of string that you insert through all of your knit stitches. And you do this because if you make a mistake in a section and want to frog your project, then it'll stop on a designated row and you can use that yarn through there to put your needles back into. This is handy with lace because since lace has so many yarn overs and then like knit two togethers and stuff, and so the stitches sort of move all the way around in the fabric. You can't just drop, like if you made a mistake in color work, you could probably drop your yarns down, fix it, and then work it back up. Lace is a lot harder to do that. I mean, you could do that within one section, but it's still a lot more challenging to do. So yeah, that's why you might do a lifeline. And I feel like I have a video. Or safety line, I think I called it. This is 14 years when All Free Knitting was paying me to do stuff. And actually, is this, I don't want to play with sound. Boo! They're getting a free ad. Okay, yeah, this is when I was making garters for my wedding. Ah! And so then, yeah, you would insert the safety line through the stitches, and I would do that every couple of repeats, because that way, if I made a mistake or you know, your needle falls out of your project, then you can protect it. And so, yeah, there is my safety line. And so I think I was, with this project, like every repeat, I was doing a safety line. Just because, yeah. And this was like some cotton thread that then I like blocked and starched. Yeah, so this is, yeah, 14 years ago, March 2011. I got monetized on YouTube for the first time in, I think August 2011 was when I got monetized. Because I was at my friend's wedding, and I think their anniversary was this week, and I was like, oh yeah, YouTube wants to monetize me. Because before, like, I would get paid, oh my gosh, it was like $10 or maybe like $15 to post a video for All Free Knitting. I would post on my channel, and they would post on their channel, which, like, I stopped working with them when they wanted exclusive rights to the video, because then I was like, well, I don't know how to deal with that. But so this was one of the very first ways I ever, so I got ads from AdSense on my blog pretty early on. But then All Free Knitting paying me was a way that that worked. And so then if I was working on a project and I was like, okay, I can do a video, yeah, and I started filming some of my yarn dyeing for that collaboration too. But my thought process was, okay, if I'm only making $10 or $15 for a video, then okay, if I'm going to buy yarn at $6, and if Kool-Aid, if I'm going to spend $2 on Kool-Aid, I need to make this stretch, right? Because that's not a lot. And so that's how that all happened. And it's how I started saying Rebecca from ChemKnits in videos, because if someone was watching me on one of their videos, I wanted branding. I wanted to brand myself. Today's your anniversary. Congratulations. Happy anniversary, Amy. Yeah, so I remember that. But I am now monetized on Facebook, which is great. I am not monetized on TikTok, but I don't know how I would ever go about doing that. My presence on TikTok is completely minimal. Okay. Hopefully we don't have something that is a bleeder. This is really pretty, and I'm going to need to stop because I don't think I should add more color to it. This is after 10 minutes of heat. Now very carefully, yeah, see there are light, ooh, there's also darkness down there, but there are lighter patches beneath the surface. I'm trying to be very gentle. Because there's still color. a lot of color. Okay, I'm going to want to be super gentle. There's a lot of dye. Let's add a lot more acid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. We have a lot more acid in here. And we're going to go and heat this for 20 more minutes and hope for the best. I mean, I do kind of want to add more water. I don't want, see, we've got some beautiful like pastel areas too, which therefore, when we spin this, things are going to blend out. So it's, again, not going to be this saturated because it's going to blend with the other colors. I do want to add more water. Let's add warm water. And actually, let's do 1, 2, 3. Gotta wait for the tap water to heat up. Okay, I have about 1 liter of water, which is 4 cups of hot water with 3 tablespoons of white vinegar in here. And I'm just going to carefully add this. I'm going for areas specifically that look like they're very saturated, and so maybe have some undissolved dye. And I'm adding this in. I don't want to lose some of this variation. Okay, I'm hoping to keep as much of that as possible, but I'm hoping to not have a big bleed or two. Okay, back to the stove, 20 minutes of heat. The reason for adding warm water is I don't want to shock things. And if I added cold water, that's just not a good thing to do with fiber. Okay, so we're going to heat that. I can show you that again towards the end. And our yarn mop can also heat those additional 20 minutes. Cold process friend may not need to go outside. Okay. Should I add more dye to it? I think I want to. Let's see. You have bare yarn, 300 yarns. You'd like to dye in a shoebox with food dye. How much vinegar is recommended? Okay, Diana. I typically, with my tap water, start with a ratio of 2 tablespoons of white vinegar per 8 cups of water. Or about 1 tablespoon of vinegar per liter. I know I'm mixing a lot of measurements around here, but yes, that is the ratio that I start with. But it depends on the technique, and you may want to add acid later on and things like that. Now, you know what? That's looking more saturated, which I should say on camera. I just took the lid off and said to myself, You know what? This looks more saturated, that little like purpley bit. And so therefore I'm not feeling like I need to add more dye to this in any kind of bad way. You can already, now that most of the color is in our yarn, you can already start to see some of that contrast with the stellina. Yeah, the contrast is way more visible now than it was at the beginning, but also it's more visible now because with, well, I mean, I removed that section from the dye entirely, but with less dye in there, the water is more translucent and less opaque, so that also helps. Now, there really isn't that much pigment left in here. I could remove the yarn and just let the rest of that dye stay behind. I could remove the yarn and go and steam set it and wash it and be done. But I am going to go ahead and finish the cold process that I like to do. And I'm going to set this aside outdoors for a couple of days. It is warm enough that some colors would set completely without needing a steam set in the end. I like to do that steam set because it means that I know the colors are well set, and there are some pigments that really do need it. So I will see you. In a couple of days. Cool, cool, cool. Oh my gosh, I wonder if sometimes I have videos get suppressed because I say like, let's dye, and in videos, and I think that like the algorithm sometimes then does not push it, which is annoying because there's videos that I'm like, this video is doing great on like Facebook and stuff. Viewer posts. Oh, viewers can't post in your community right now. My community is off. Turn it on to get conversations going. I don't know how that works. They are adding new things that I do not know how to go about it, which is weird. Very, very, very weird. Okay. Let's see. Okay. I am taking this thing outside, so I will see you in a moment. How am I going to do this? Let's open the doors. If it's too hot, sometimes if I open the doors outside, then the smoke alarm goes off because of condensation. And so then that is annoying. Okay. Alrighty. Now when I ordered a bunch of yarn to overdye, I had vision for some of these. I need to reduce this heat. Okay. Alright, that is going well. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's come back over here. Da, 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 da. Oops, I did not mean to do that. If I did, then whoops. if I accidentally inserted a second ad. That'd be goofy. Haha. Let's see. Maybe switch to let's color some yarn. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's not a problem for my streams or for regular videos. And like clearly the algorithm reads like DYE, like, and that's fine. But I just wonder if shorts sometimes. Okay, this is all yarn and fiber that I unboxed ages ago. But I thought it would be fun to brainstorm what to do with some of these. For example, I bought some roving in this beautiful blue heather. So this is Arctic Pool heather. And I don't know if you can tell, but the fiber has flecks of like pink in it. It's definitely like a blended color. And so I got it to over dye, but I don't know for what purpose. I don't remember what it was I wanted to do there. And I'm showing some of these things so that way we can decide like what to do. And like this, I feel like this Superwash Wool of the Andes Bulky I bought only so that way because it was a pastel and it was probably really cheap. I feel like that was the reason there, versus like a very specific over dyeing kind of project. I don't know why I have these strolls. Maybe I wanted to, I must have had a video idea at some point with like over dyeing, because this heathered, maybe I wanted to show the difference between trying to over dye like a heathered yarn versus like a dark yarn, and if we could do something. You know, it is escaping me what on earth I could have possibly wanted to do with it. I also have an orange. I mean, probably it would make sense to try to do like over dyeing with all of these and see something. Someone asked about turquoise. You can't say why Rebecca Brown doesn't like it, but it tends to be a bleeder. Anything with turquoise breaks as it bleed. Yeah, so it's not like, I like Jakard's turquoise better than Dharma's true turquoise, which are different pigments, I think. Yeah, what you say and what is written don't always match with computer hears, with maybe without context, and it chooses, yes, correct. So like when I do my shorts, I do my own closed captions on the video, and I try to edit those things like to be appropriate. What else do I have? I got loads of things in here. Okay, I got so things for over dyeing. I have some Felici that I can over dye. And so this is a self-striping colorway. And so I've done some fun things with this in the past. I don't know what I want to do with it. I have two, I think these are Stroll hand-painted yarns. And one of these I'm thinking about like sort of not quite just dip dyeing, but like dip and hold. Ooh, I could just full on resist dye. That could be pretty. But I thought about, yeah, doing something where like maybe I dye like 80% of it one color and then leave the rest as it is and things like that. And so that was one idea I had, but sometimes, or for one of them it could be like, hey, I don't like this colorway, what can I do with it? But I do feel like there was a reason why I had a navy and then a heathered color that was close to it, and I wanted to do something, and for the life of me I can't remember what it was. But yeah, these are just some things that I have that are in my, oh, and here are two swish ones that are like legit pretty. It's fun when you see yarn from like a big place like Knit Picks as it was dyed. Like clearly half of this was done light blue, half of this in the gray, and then they have like purple and black speckles over it. And so I can imagine, I don't like trying to reverse engineer yarn. But when a larger company has a hand-dyed colorway, I like to look at it and just think about the technique and not necessarily the color. And so this one is cool because you can see that there's 4 colors like in the round, and then the one area that is speckled, which is quite pretty. But it's just, I don't know, it's fun for me to look at it and think, gosh, how do they do this and mass produce it? Now these, okay, so this is the Swish Pops line. I think they charge way more for these, and I definitely bought them at like the big sale or something. Let's see. Nope, I don't want Ravelry. I wanted Knit Picks. Okay, here we go. So the Swish Pops. Okay, so they're charging $17 for these. Versus, what do they charge for just Swish? Are these DK weight? Yeah. Okay. Swish Pops. Swish worsted. So Swish worsted is $7 for 50 grams. So actually, that has become way more expensive. That's $14 versus $17. I guess they're $12 now. Oh my god. They have become more expensive. It's funny because I look at the wholesale price, which the Swish wholesale, whoa, that is way more expensive. What about Stroll? Yeah, the 20 pack, because the 20 pack is 15% off. Oh my gosh, they have raised prices very recently also. Now, when they have a coupon code, I'm like off center. When they have a coupon code, you can stack the coupon code with the 20 packs, but yeah, that is more expensive. I used to have a wholesale account with Knit Picks, which did 40% off a 100 pack, but then they changed it, and so they changed it to only 30% off, I think, a 100 pack, and then I think because they sent me some PR and they sent it to my business email address or something, and my business email address is now no longer a wholesale account, so I don't know if they got rid of wholesale altogether. And so if any of you still have a wholesale account with Knit Picks, let me know. Yeah, because if I try logging in to it on the wholesale portal, it brings me to just my regular account. So anyway, that is becoming way, way more expensive. I wonder, I know the company was bought, and I had a project with them that is just in limbo. So I'm sad about that. I need to reach out again and see like what's going on with it. Now, they are becoming more and more expensive. I do think that so they're okay. This is the other one I was looking for. So the Stroll Effects, or I guess maybe these are like the Stroll hand painted. You know, call them Stroll Effects. They start at $18, which, you know, they are getting more hands-on attention than like their solids, right? It takes more time. And I can't really talk because I charge $29 for a skein of my hand-dyed yarn that started as Stroll. But what I'm gonna need to do is the next time I need to order yarn is take a look and think, gee, it makes more sense for me business-wise to order from a company where it's not going to be as expensive. And so sometimes that's how I have to make my decisions. And yeah, but the thing I like about Knit Picks is that a lot of people have tried their yarns. I am a Knit Picks affiliate. It's not at the top of the video description, but somewhere. Do I not even have one? That is hilarious. There is not one currently. I will add one. Even though they have shifted to a new platform. So I did not make a special link for the stream. But these old links should work fine. I will double check the link. Fiber dyes and washes. Ooh, they now have the Procyon MX ice dyes. Okay, I'm getting distracted. But okay, I've added that link in. Oh, and I should add my own. It's like ChemKnits dyed yarn. Even though I typed like a noob. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the heat there. I still think that Knit Picks yarn is a good place for beginners to buy their yarn. It isn't necessarily the cheapest place, but they have minimums for free shipping. You can buy a single skein of yarn and then get a true white or a true black in a lot of the same yarn lines. And so therefore, it is a good choice for someone starting out, especially if they've been a Knit Picks customer before. Okay, I just turned off the heat. Carefully bringing this over so we can check in on it. See a little bit of dye up there. We still have variation. It is definitely reduced. Ooh, that's looking clear. Okay, hint of pink. Hint of pink. Hey, hints of pink are great. I don't mind little hints of pink at all. That is that purple pop. Okay, almost all the color is in our fiber. I am not going to touch it at this point. I'm going to let it, I'll put it back over on the stove. I'm going to let it cool completely so then we can like wash it and stuff, which I may film in case I make a longer video. Oh, Rebecca, I'm going to stop the camera now. I may film that at some point in case I ever do make a longer video, because I think that it's interesting to see when things bleed and when they don't bleed. So I think that that could be useful to do. I do have one more yarn pre-soaked. What is it? It's 12:30. I have time. What to do with the zebra yarn? Especially with my stove taken up the way it is. And I'm going to set our yarn mop aside to cool. She is quite lovely. I am thinking, because I have all of my dye powders down here, I could do, the question is more, so my stove is very covered right now. So what should I do? Okay, let's do a pull. Oh dear. How do I add a pull? Start a pull. What should I do with the non-superwash zebra? Let's see. We could do that. Okay, you guys can make suggestions as I'm working on this poll. Right now I have, although of course the poll may be set up before I see what your suggestions are. Immersion dye with dry powders cold, countertop speckles, because I have the heat stuff. And so if I was going to do the immersion dye with the dry powders cold, I would heat set it eventually. It wouldn't be cold process, but I'd sort of dissolve the dyes on site. I don't want to do a shoebox blended technique because it's not in superwash. So I guess those are the two other, let's see. Okay. 3 options. The 3 options are immersion dye with dry powders cold. And so I'll do everything at the counter and then we'll go heat set it. The second choice is some kind of like countertop speckles on top of it, which since it's non-superwash, those will spread out a fair amount. And then the third option was something. I don't want to end the poll. The third option is if something came up in the chat, then that could be our other. But I'm not seeing, I just put a smiley face in the chat. I have not seen something come up in the chat yet, and you guys can see my face. And please comment with color suggestions too. So oh yeah, what am I going to do with this? Like maybe I should like braid it and then dye with black, and that would be really cool. The only colors I have in dye stocks right now, I think, are the cyan, magenta, yellow primaries. So I think I have brilliant yellow, deep magenta, and Caribbean blue. I have managed to use up all the rest of the dye stocks that I've had. And so I'm left with those, and I think they're all more recent ones, which means that these colors are going to be featured in lots of videos coming up. Whether I am mixing my own colors from them or what, sometimes when I have dye stocks, I want to. Purple. I mean, I do love purples. I could do like 3 or 4 purples on there. 5 of us have voted. Oh! So far, I think 100%. Oh, Angie. I'm like, la la la. I was like, I think I'm gonna vote just on my like monitor one, just to be contrary. I think I voted just so that way it's not 100%, because that way I can watch the percentage change. I voted for other. Blues, purples, and teals on the zebra yarn. I mean, I actually have that with like on the counter right now. I could do like up to 9 votes. Yeah, one of them was me. Like, I can't vote from this account, but clearly things are all going in a very specific direction. I don't think I want to use purple pop on it though. Blues, greens, and yellows. Ooh, that's pretty. Yeah, I'm thinking like, thinking like, I can kind of make it up as I go too. I'll have to remember that I need to make an introduction for it. Oh man. Just checking to make sure everything is a-okay. Package shipped. That's good. Oh, sweet. My invoice was paid. That is good. What? Oh, fine. It was just my yarn has been shipped. Did I get... Okay, I did not buy the Neo Minis. What I did buy... Ooh, I got a sample skein of like a different Neo yarn. It's like a fluffy one. I ordered more superwash fingering weight zebra yarn. I ordered... and I ordered some yak blends. So that is what I'm going to say about that. Okay, I'm going to end the poll. Orange speckles for Halloween. Ooh. I am planning on a Halloween colorway this year. I just ordered a bunch of stuff for that. I just have to finish my design of it, and I don't know. Pre-orders for Halloween are not coming imminently because I never do pre-orders until I have like yarn for it, and so yeah. But Halloween year 2, official year 2 is coming soon. So yay! I need to update I started making myself spreadsheets of holiday. Shared with me. Let's go to my other account. Not my inserts, archive. Is that just Hanukkah and SM? Oh no, Valentine's Day. Okay. I can share this. Where is my screen share? I think I've shared this before, because I don't think there's any spoilers in it. Where is my, here we go. All right, here's a picture of all the, I have like a little like jewelry thing where I keep all the charms that I've done over the years. So that way I try to avoid repeats. Halloween last year were those little pumpkin guys. And then, you know, I started trying to track what I've done each year. I didn't add last year's Hanukkah yet, both in terms of the color progression and the packaging, just so that way I can try to mix things up with what I do for the various like techniques or colors. I'm sure that after however many years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, after 7 years, I'm sure I might repeat things by accident. And then similarly, I guess I didn't take these screenshots of that. Oh, because we had 2025 this year already. But yeah, keeping track of like the packaging and what the different colorways were and things I need to do. Need to add 2025. But again, so that way I can just try to keep things fresh. And so then I have Valentine's Day, not this year's though. This year's isn't on there. I have all the different Black Friday colorways I've done, again, to just try to like keep it fresh. And then this was Halloween last year. It was like a purple black with pops of green. And I used a lot of different yarn bases, including the Neon Nets one. And so that was the first Halloween colorway I have officially done, and I've been meaning to do it for years, and I think that I'm going to be able to do it this year as well. But then I also have to, yeah, Hanukkah pre-orders are still a ways out, but I am in good shape. Oh, I need to find, the Hanukkah vlog started last year. I need to find something. I'm going to write myself an email. Becca, find 25. But I also haven't figured out the packaging for Hanukkah yet. I had one idea, but then with tariffs that became significantly more expensive. Which when it comes to like these bonus series I do, I try to keep the cost of like the packaging and everything as low as I can, because I know it's mostly about the yarn. But, okay, we are going to work on filming this last minute lab partner video, which means I need to stand up. Okay, so the two colorways, it's like blues, purples, and teals, or to do blues, greens, and yellows. Oh, that came through real late. You got it? Oh, I email myself all the time. All the time, all the time, all the time. Actually, there is one thing I need to do. Before we get started, I am going to go on a quick break, so things will be muted. And I'll put the thing up, but I will be right back. The break will really, really be short, I promise. I'm back. That was very, very fast. See, I promised. But I'm going to give a minute so that way anyone who got ads can see that. We're doing good. When I mean good, I mean well. But guys, the 600th episode of Dye Pot Weekly is coming up, and I don't know yet what I want to do. There's dust in here. I need to figure out the colors. I think I want to use Alpine Blue and Teal Green. And then the question is, we do a purple or a yellow? Maybe go. Let's do a soft yellow. Duckling. We're going to do that. Oh my. Okay, Rebecca, zebra yarn video. It is going to need an introduction. And there's B-roll of the yarn, and the yarn pre-soaked for a couple of hours. I asked my chat in a live stream for color suggestions, and a blue, green, and yellow came up. And since I've been playing with primary colors a lot lately, I wanted to pick non-primaries. And so I think the colorway I want today is going to involve Dharma Acid Dye's Teal Green, Alpine Blue, which has more pigment and oomph to it than the swatch really indicates, and then a softer yellow. So I went for Duckling. Now, Duckling can strike a little bit quickly at times and leave some like speckles, almost like brown speckles behind. But since our yarn is non-superwash, I think that there's a good chance we can dissolve it and spread it out on the yarn itself. And so that is what we're going to try to do. I need a yarn mop. Who do I have around? Imagination is not a good yarn mop. Okay, in the next room, I have a skein of Hawthorn. Hawthorn is a good yarn mop. Since I'm planning on hand painting with dry dye powders, I need a yarn mop because when I have dye powders, maybe not as much today, but we'll still have this on hand. When I'm dealing with dry dye powders, sometimes there's powder on your gloves, and rather than just rinsing it down the drain, I like to add it to some yarn. Now today I'm going to be working the colors through our yarn So I'll have some liquid dye on my gloves, and so that I can wipe onto here. And then if we need to, we can always just add dye onto it in the end, and it'll be fine. But Hawthorne is 80% superwash fine Highland wool, 20% polyamide. And I'm going to add a zip tie to it and quickly add it to a tub that had water and vinegar in it that I've used for multiple projects today. If you want to learn more about any of the yarn or tools and equipment that I use in my videos, I have links and affiliate links down in the video description. I am an affiliate with Knit Picks, so their yarn is all linked with affiliate links, but I also link to companies I don't get any commissions from, like Wool to Die For, because we're using the main colorway today as one of their yarns. And then I also link to things like my steam pans and what have you. So this just needed a quick dunk. It's okay if there's dry patches. We're not going for all over color. And I'm going to set this nearby in an aluminum pan, and we'll come set up our dye bath for the zebra yarn, starting with no acid. Even though I now have acid on my hands, but it's gonna be fine. I'll make sure that that's gonna be on camera. Ooh, maybe a muck dye type situation with 600 teeny pinches of all the different dyes. You mean for this one or just for something in general? I do have more of my muck dye that I made that one time. I just removed the 200 grams of zebra yarn from the pre-soak, and I just wanted to show you that this doesn't look that clear anymore. I don't usually scour my yarn or wash it with soap in any kind of way. Maybe that would help things strike faster, I don't know, but I've had success with this particular colorway in the past, so I don't feel a need to do it. I just need to keep reminding myself, non-superwash, non-superwash, non-superwash. And that's because there's also a superwash version of this yarn. Okay, I'm gonna dump that. And now onto our yarn, I want to add 8 cups of water. Maybe we'll end up adding more, maybe not. Because I want basically there to be enough water so I can squish things. Now, to be fair to myself, when we add the dye powders in and start working it through, and I wipe my hands on my yarn mop that has acid in it, that means I could be introducing acid in here. I'm not worried about that because I'm probably not going to be adding enough of anything to create any issues. The main thing that I want to be able to do is spread the dyes all the way through the yarn. And since it's my best friend, I am streaming right now. Okay. Shoot, where was I? Let's check the clip. And since it's non-superwash, a little bit of acid being introduced in here isn't going to suddenly make the colors unable to spread through. But think about like when I do a lasagna technique and things, some colors sometimes strike really fast and others don't. But now I'm going to go put on my deluxe rubber respirator mask. But now I'm going to go put on my deluxe rubber respirator mask, safety glasses, and gloves, and we're going to add dye. And we're going to add dye. And I am going to check. Okay, cool, everything's good. Okay, let me see. The friend must be the only millennial on earth to use the phone. So we're very geriatric millennials over here. And I think that, so there are two people that I talked to on the phone for a long time. One was my mom, but she's not around anymore. And then the other is my best friend who called. She's like the only person I'll talk on the phone to. But then we won't see each other we were just on vacation together, so we spent a whole week together with all of our families. But we otherwise probably hadn't seen each other for like a year, and we live like an hour from each other, so we talk on the phone. I'm gonna try the gray baby llama from Will to Die For. No, I don't think so. I think it's on my list, but then I haven't been able to get a sample of it. Oh, not 600. Okay, for celebrating Die Cut Weekly 600. Beth, this is why sometimes when I'm reading the chat, I'm like, la 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 la. Oh man, sometimes I need to make sure that I just like read better. Okay. All right, for our colors today, we're going to start with the, not necessarily the lightest actual color, but potentially the lightest actual color. And we're going to do the duckling first. Now, I can always edit any of these colors more, but I want to start with the yellow because right now I don't have any blue or teal on my hands, and that is good. Now, you may notice that the base here has a little bit of gray to it. Will to Die For does have multiple versions of the zebra base, and this color is going through really easily, really well. It dissolved really well and gave me that soft yellow that I wanted. I have a feeling even if I had picked a bright yellow on this base, it would have felt a little bit soft, but actually that's perfect. Now, when I add our blue next to it, we will get some green in the overlap, which is fine. Now, I picked these colors without a specific inspiration per se for them. And the thing that is funny is that this realm of color, not this order, but this realm, is something that I'm interested in doing more in the near future because I was just in Yellowstone National Park and all of the like hot pools and things, the colors were so beautiful that I have a feeling I am about to do like a big Yellowstone inspiration collection almost, you know? Okay, this blue is beautiful. I definitely think I need more of it. This yarn mop is going to have so little color on it. But you know what? I'm glad that she's here. Because we never know what we're going to do, and then I can always save it and use it again for another project. Now, is it just me, or is this a little darker now than it was a moment ago? and I have a feeling it is not just me. There are colors, and mainly hyacinth, but I don't know if alpine blue is in that category, that when you first add them, look very pastel. And then over time, they become a little more saturated. So, I don't know. Alpine blue is one of those. But what I'm trying to do, and see, I can lift the yarn in local spots to try to move that color through. Oof, that is looking good. And I can scooch things down as I go to start working on the end. But yeah, everything is just the way that I want it to be. Now, I feel like a lot of times when I'm doing a color like this in a pan with 3 colors, I do this progression of least saturated color on one side, something in the middle, and then most saturated on the other. It definitely doesn't have to be that way, but my brain likes doing things that way. So I guess that's not a problem. This teal green is such a lovely color. It is quite saturated. Now, I'm not worried about anything felting right now because I'm pressing, but I'm not rubbing. And the way I have things scrunched in the pan, we're not necessarily going to have like the smoothest transition, but I mean, look at that. That's pretty good coverage. And it went way faster and easier than I expected. If this were, goodness, if this were a superwash yarn, I maybe would have needed to do more layers. But I love where this is right now. I love the little bit of green I have there at the interface and how that goes well with the teal. I am thrilled. So now we're going to add some acid. I'm going to do 1, 2. You can tell that color hasn't struck yet because when I added the acid on, it's rinsing the color away. 3, 4, 5 tablespoons of white vinegar. That's a lot for 8 cups of water, but I like the colors that I have and where things are. And so I don't want things to move too much. And in fact, after adding acid, I am going to sort of push things through, like working that acid through here. And you notice I started at the lightest end, moved towards the deepest. But now I'm actually going to let this sit on the countertop for a period of time. And I think the time is going to be 15 minutes. Removing my mask. And the reason why I'm going to wait is that when we add dye onto yarn and it's not that hot, things stay put a little bit more where they are placed. What I have found is that once we take this over to the heat, even if I keep it level and so I don't shift any of the dyes as I move it over, what I have found is that when you add heat, that's when colors are likely to move. So if by sitting here at room temperature, if we get any of the color to strike, then that means that we are more likely to maintain this beauty as we move forward. Now, as for our yarn mop, she is so... Now, as for our yarn mop, she is pretty, but very much unfinished. I'm going to go ahead and steam set her for 30 minutes right now, and then either you won't see her again because I'll use her for another project I'm going to work on today, or we may see her later. But at least if this color is set, then I know I can wash and dry and come back to it another day if I need to. So I'll see you when the timer goes off. I do have, gosh, I have a lot of yarn washing to do later. I do still have some deep purple dye and a little bit of Cabernet. Actually, a lot of Cabernet, a little bit of orange, a little bit of deep purple. So maybe we'll use those on this yarn mop in the shoebox where I have those dyes, and just have like a leave no dye behind that maybe is just going to be like a short, not even a full leave no dye behind video. But we'll finish letting this wait and then we will see. Because maybe that's a nice way to round out everything that I have. But yay, it's fun when I get suggestions from you all about like the yarns that you want to see in the video and the colors, and I need some food too. Monique, you love my fall colorway. Oh, thank you so much. So Jim, most of the yarn you dye that they dye is non-superwash, mostly because you have easy access to it at a discount when you worked at Joann's. That, yeah, works. And if you do a ton of felting, then you want non-superwash. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, man. Yeah, so my ideas... Ooh, I've got a cut on my foot. I don't know how I did that. My ideas for Dye Pot Weekly 600 include doing something with a self-striping yarn, like a super long skein. Not necessarily making something self-striping, but because when does 600 come out? How long do I have to plan that? Okay, I have like 5 weeks before Dye Pot Weekly 600 comes out. So I am in reasonable shape for content before then. Yeah, so but the idea that I had to do with the super long skein, that is something I'm very excited about. There's a video that comes out for like $5.99. I think that there might be too much overlap between those two videos, and so then I don't know if I want to do that per se. So other ideas I had involved like something lasagna-y. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when I say yarn lasagna, I mean doing basically what I just did in the pan, but then after doing one layer, we add more yarn and do the same color progression again and again and again. And so, although I just had an idea. Which is not that unique. I've done something like this before, but oh my goodness. I need to write myself an email. Okay. I just had an idea that would be fun, but yeah. So yeah, yarn lasagna. The problem with doing yarn lasagna for a Dye Pot Weekly episode is that doing a yarn lasagna usually involves a minimum of 600 grams of yarn. And that is a lot for like one video, right? It just makes the video that much more expensive, especially then if the yarn doesn't sell. Because I think I did one, we can go to my shop and look rather than just me searching. Okay, No, I don't want that. Maybe it was decay. Oh yeah, all of the spring mini skein mini series yarn is now sorted into its own listing. So for like the rainbow yarn mops, each listing is its own. Each yarn base is its own listing now, and so one of these has neps. It'll be clear if you see the whole title. Yeah, this one has donegal neps, and here you can tell like, okay, that one is the neps, that colorway. Aha. Okay, so one of them is sold out. I'm not sure about the rest yet, but so this was a lasagna that I did where I added dye on the first layer and then no more dye after that. And I picked, I think, emerald green because I knew that it would spread, and then maybe I did chartreuse, and then I don't know if I did like a fluorescent yellow, I don't remember, but it was interesting to see like how much, okay, the first layer made a difference, but then after that there wasn't a huge contrast anymore, which I thought was just interesting. And so, yeah, so a lot of this yarn, and hey, in case someone wants it, the green and yellow yarn I'm talking about. Yeah, and so then it's just been around a bit longer. I'm curious, did I ever get any of the yak silk blend in the 100 gram? I did not order some of that yak blend this time. I've used that yarn a lot. I've used that for Hanukkah, and I had like I had a bonus in Hanukkah. Wait, why is that showing up first now? That's weird. Because I just clicked on it. Oh, that's so freaky. All right, so I was talking before, we've got the last minute lab partners, which I'll be adding some of those videos I was working on today to there eventually, and then the lab partner listing. And then if you want, I changed this, it used to say double your yarn, but since it's really just to add another 100 grams to your lab partner thing. Oh, here's some roving that I dyed that's very similar to what I dyed today, and I'm surprised that this is still in the shop because roving usually doesn't stay that long. The only roving I have for sale I do need to order more of the yak silk DK. The yarn is so fantastic. But yeah, I was like, this one has stuck around longer than I expected. Okay. Now I do have some fun other things that, depending if I get into the spinning groove, I have. Gosh, it was a Paradise Fibers. It was like a grab bag. It had little bits of fiber from a lot of their mystery boxes, and so that's something that would be fun. Oh, I need to change. So this Hanukkah listing, this is the 2024 one. I still have some of the sock yarn left from 2024. What was I going to say about this? I will be changing the main thumbnail so that way it won't get confused for 2025. But anyway, that's shop stuff. Let's see. Wait, then the Chem Kids and Chem Husband could each dye a skein for themselves on the grill after cooking hot dogs and hamburgers. Oh! Okay, Jim, I missed the Yarnicue with friends. I was like, wait, what? So I did, before Lucas started kindergarten, we did a play date with a neighbor, and they came over and we dyed yarn outside. And that was not something I filmed because it involved children besides my own, because I don't, if it was just my kids, I might have filmed it. I will say Ryder is in a video coming up. We did a fun technique that there was a lab partner request for a Chem Kid. Now, I will say, like, as a caveat, the I will never promise that my kids will be in a video, because them being in a video is up to them 100%. It is their choice whether or not they want to participate. And so I never want to obligate them, but the lab partner talked to me about it in advance, and I asked Ryder if he would be interested in being a part of a video for someone else, and he said that he would love to. And so that's why that happened. But if he had, when it was time to film it, if he had decided he didn't want to anymore, I would have let him back out. So I will say he's interested, he would try, but I would never promise. So I don't want people to think like that they can sign up and be like, oh, please have the kids dye this, because like I'm not going to promise that. Oh, an 11-week-old puppy. Aww. But yes, the kids do enjoy dyeing things. I have yet to make Keith dye yarn. And I mean, it's been like, a video idea I've had would be like, I do have video ideas that involve Keith that are beyond just April Fool's Day. Like asking him to narrate a video, like dye yarn and have him try to narrate it. But I think it would be, or like, okay, let the kids tell him what to do, but I feel like it could be very messy and very, yes. And so, but yes, I would also give him that choice if he wants to someday. But I have thought about hosting like a neighborhood tie-dye party, but need to think about logistics and how to set it up in a way that would not make me neurotic. Because I think in the video that is coming up with Ryder, the technique is such that like you can tell that I'm like nervous, like, okay, wait, no, don't touch yet, don't touch it. And I'm like, ah. So some of that momming comes out, but I need to be more okay with just messes. This could have actually been Ryder's first time using commercial dyes. But yeah, the delivery was an interesting one. Actually, there is a sneak peek in the shop, which I'm not going to go for. But so sometimes if I think you can sort for like most recent. And so then if you check through all those listings, then you could get a hint of what the video is. So that is pretty fun. But actually, as I come over here, yeah, so like this was a Leave No Dye Behind skein from SMSMS. Clearly some of these were SMSMS yarns, and then there's a lot of yarn from videos that came out recently. This is one that this video hasn't come out yet, and I think that this yarn is just to die for. The way that those colors came together is just beautiful, and it was like a random decision for me to layer those colors. I am obsessed with it. Aha! Well, no, I'm clicking through all the wrong things. Lucas did narrate a video for me when I had laryngitis, I think. So I had no voice, and I think I had a video that I needed to do. And so that one I maybe bribed him. I bought him a new book. I forget if I bribed him with Pokemon cards or a book, but I wrote out a script, and then he read it for me because I had no voice. And I was like, I need a video. I cannot talk because my voice was just shredded. But that's right, he did narrate one. But that's like maybe that was an uncredited cameo. This is so pretty. This is so pretty, and I really hope that that little bit of green is going to go through. But even after this time, like the color is nowhere near setting, which is one of the big differences between superwash and non-superwash yarns. And again, as I pour just a little more vinegar on it, you could see that the color is like here. It is present. It is not set yet. But I think at this point what I'm going to do is I am going to take it over to the stove very carefully, and I am going to put it on the stove and I'm going to start heating it slowly. Knowing that the colors are going to spread, that is what it is. It does need heat to set. I found that doing some cold process of superwash or non-superwash yarns like this outside takes way longer than the superwash counterparts, and sometimes there's a lot of dye left behind. But that's another video that's in progress. I don't know if that one has come out yet, and so yeah, but I will see you. I guess I'll go and I'll check in with you in about 30 minutes after adding heat, or sooner if I notice anything. Okay, but I gotta make space. I want to trade. That roving is so pretty. Careful, 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 careful. Okay. Okay, the timer has like 13 minutes on it. I will change that in a bit. Shoot. I forgot, is this still hot? It is warm, it is not hot, but I want to bring the corks back over to our pretty yarn. Now, I love that I'm touching that with my finger. There is a little bit of some dye powder like on the surface. Why am I going in with that with my finger? That I'll never know. But we are significantly cooler. And yeah, we have pastel areas here, but this is so watercolor, isn't it? Isn't it just so pretty? One of the reasons why I picked Purple Pop is because I know it's a color that spreads. And so then there was a potential for something really cool to happen. Okay, I'm going to keep an eye on that. And I know, oh gosh, you guys can barely see it. It looks so dark. I don't know if there's a better way for me to do that for you all right now. But I think I'm about to sign off. Because technically, even though I've been only streaming on here since 10:30, I have been streaming on and off since 9 a.m. So, that's not that long. But, still a lot. Oh man, and I'm getting tired. Yeah, thank you so much for tuning in today. And again, this is hopefully the start of a series, which I am hoping that Fridays for the rest of August, I will pop in to stream some spinning. And I'm trying to like say I'm going to do it to really force myself into a corner, because I've been saying I needed to do a spinning live stream for like 5 years. And I keep intending to do it and making a resolution to do it and then not doing it. So the plan is to do it with this fiber. I will need to wash it, and yeah, but I think it's a plan, and it's a fun plan, and I'm excited, and I really hope that you are too. So please subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video. I post videos at least twice a week. I will conceivably have a short that goes up this afternoon, and you don't want to miss any of it. Now, one thing I really have to do is, after the stream is done, to go through and remove ads, because YouTube will put ads like every 5 minutes, sometimes even shorter. And in a live stream, I don't like them to be that fast. In the replay, like, that's too frequent. Actually, in my edited videos, I don't like the ads to be that frequent either. I try to remove a lot of the ones that YouTube auto puts in. So if you're watching the replay, and of course I'm saying this at the end of the video, I should have said it at the beginning, please comment if there's too many ads, because then that means that I forgot to go back and fix it. Yes. Yes, I'm definitely coming back, because we were in Yellowstone for a week. And I guess we've been home for almost 2 weeks since then, and I'm still like, ah! It was awesome, though. Completely awesome. But yeah, subscribe. Go and check out my shop. And thank you so much for joining me today. I'm having so much fun, and I hope that you all had fun hanging out with me, too. As I pause and just check. Okay, awesome. All right, everyone. Hopefully I'll see you live next Friday. And if not, there'll be a Leave No Die Behind video. And so then you'll know that something came up, which is why I was like, oh crap, I can't stream. But I'm trying for Fridays. This is also trying to give me some like flexibility with the edited videos to like give myself more of a buffer again. So we'll see. We'll see how this goes and what YouTube thinks. Yes, oh yeah, and like the live stream and all that jazz. All that really helps. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!